Hi, Sam here for licklibrary.com and welcome to this video. I hope you're doing well. This is a free guitar lesson talking about whammy bar technique, this metallic rod which sticks in the guitar bridge like so. People call it the tremolo bar, people call it the wang bar. What do you call it? Let us know in the comments. I'm going to share with you some techniques that I like to use. Let's dive in. The first technique we can try with the whammy bar is chordal embellishment. Now this is something you'll hear with 1950s kind of Hawaii surf rock guitar like the Shadows and Ventures. I love doing this. That's my background. I started playing because of players like Hank Marvin and Buddy Holly, and using the whammy bar in this way creates a nice kind of tremolo / chorus effect. And you know, lots of players have done it since. Of course, one of my favourite UK session heroes is Alan Murphy, fantastic guitarist who played with Kate Bush and Go West. He did a lot of great chordal work with the whammy bar. Now, I've overused this before, and I've had musical director, one musical director told me to take the whammy bar out of my guitar because I was using it too much. So use of caution. Anyway, let's take a look at the guitar and see how this looks. So I'm going to take some triads. Triads are really quite nice to use with the whammy bar. I'm going to take this A minor triad with the volume rolled back on a crunchy tone on position 4 on my guitar. 10, 9, 10 on the D, G, B. And I'm using for most of this whammy bar stuff, I'm using middle, third and little finger to kind of cup the bar in my right hand here. And I'm not gripping it and moving it up and down. If I do that, listen to the sound. It's too extreme. So I just want to use it as a kind of wash on top of the note, like so. Then we're going to move down and take that same triad shape and move it down to the 5th fret. So now we have 5, 4, 5. This is an E minor triad. Same idea. And then we're going to go down here to a F major, I guess you call this an F major 9. These big kind of open voicings work really nicely with the whammy bar. I'm using a bit of reverb and delay as well, just to kind of give it more space and more sustain. So this F major 9 is 3 on the D, open G, 1st fret B, open E. And it's really just kind of letting the bar just rock in the hand. It's very much a touch and feel technique, and it can take a while to get used to. And it's part of this is actually getting your bar set up in a way that you can find it quite easily. You know, I've got used to just doing this because I've done it for many years, and I think it's just a case of actually remembering to use it half the time. Okay. Let's do that again, sorry. The next thing I'd like you to try out is using the bar for vibrato. Now vibrato is where you take the note and you have the notes like this, you shift the note's pitch up and back to pitch, hopefully in time, hopefully in tune, okay? That's another lesson entirely. But with the whammy bar, we can actually go above and below the notes. So this is a different type of vibrato. So it's a very useful type of vibrato to have in our toolbox. And also for the more technically sort of minded players, some runs and some things will leave you in a way that you're compromised with the fretting hand, where it's difficult to do vibrato, and you can use the whammy bar to kind of embellish notes so it doesn't sound so flat. So let me just demonstrate to you some whammy bar vibrato on some single note phrases. So I'm going to demonstrate now the difference between fretting hand vibrato and whammy bar vibrato. I'll improvise a phrase and use only fretting hand vibrato, which is good, and then I'll do a similar phrase and use the whammy bar. And in more extreme scenarios, if I go to the bridge pickup, you can really get kind of wild up and down vibrato. And if you listen to Jeff Beck and players like that, you'll hear this type of vibrato employed really, really skillfully in an improvised manner. So let's just have a look how we can maybe practice this. Let's take a look at the guitar neck. So you could take any phrase that you like. Let's take a pentatonic phrase in A minor. Got a hammer on from 5 to 7 on the D string, and then 5, 7, pull off back to 5 on the G. Now what I could do is practicing just getting the pick on the strings whilst holding the bar. I kind of pinch it here with my middle and first finger. Now, because this type of vibrato is generally a little less subtle because it's on the single notes, it's not like you've got a wash of chords here, you can be a little bit more firmer with the bar, and by holding the bar between the two fingers you get a bit more grip and resistance to play with. I've got so used to doing that now, I can do up pulls as well. Sometimes that can be nice. And you can start to get these inflections which don't sound like your typical kind of vibratos. You start to get a bit more vocal-like in certain cases. So you might notice there, that little descending single string phrase, I did a pull off from 13 to 12 there, and as I did the pull off I pulled the bar upwards, so pulling up the bar on pull offs. And there's an opposite version of that where you can scoop, which is where you actually do a note. You play the note, 5th fret B string here, and dive the bar. So you push it down, and as you hammer onto the higher note, you're going to lift the bar, so you're going to get the note going up and down. I think one of the reasons why I particularly like this technique is because I do generally base most of my playing on legato technique, it seems. And that frees up my picking hand a little bit, but also the vibrato with the bar kind of fits that whammy bar, that legato sound. So we can practice the scoops. And of course, you know, people like Vi take that very extreme, with a bit more of an extreme motion with the scoop, and then the upwards. Now, people, that sounds very Vi to me, but I think for me, Alan Holdsworth was a big influence on this kind of idea. These kind of crying. It's totally different than just your regular style of phrasing. And if you've got a whammy bar, it's such a easy thing to add to your playing, to add another dimension to it. Something else you might want to try out, which is very popular in most modern progressive rock guitar, if you listen to people like Polyphia, you'll hear the use of gargles. Now, gargles have been used ever since whammy bars could have a routing where you could actually pull the bar backwards, and basically it sounds like this. Let me just demonstrate. So this technique can sound quite comedic, but it can also be a really cool way of adding almost like an electronic element glitch sound to your playing as well. And this is, I mean, some people actually set their bar up, so it's in reverse, as you can see here. Now my bar, I like to have it free because I like to be able to get it out of the way and move it into different positions, blah, blah, blah. So I actually use the whammy bar's design. If you notice, there's a slight kink in some whammy bars. Most whammy bars should have that. And you can actually, you actually hit the bar, let it go underneath the hand, and I'm pressing down. So I'm kind of moving it along and then letting it slip off the end of the hand there. So if I play a note, I do it in slow motion. I don't know if it's possible to do this, but that's it in slow motion. Now when I speed that up, Now the more you let it flick off the guitar, the more of an extreme wobble that you'll get. And of course, you've probably noticed that some of the artifacts come through the guitar body as well. So this is sort of a technique you have to kind of get clean in a mix, or when the band's playing, you can't really hear those things, but it's worth being aware of, because if you get it wrong, you hear more of the guitar shaking than the actual note itself. But a really cool technique to add to your whammy bar vocabulary. So the next technique is not something that I do an awful lot of unless I'm doing some kind of metal thing for Lick Library, and most recent explanation of this I've done in my Dimebag Darrell playing style and habits video, where I talk about whammy bar, dive bombs and harmonics, and how to use a wah pedal in order to get them with a high gain tone. However, sometimes it can be quite cool with a low gain tone to do similar things, and for those who don't know what I'm on about, it's one of these. So there's many variations of the whammy bar dive bomb harmonic. One of my favourite exponents of this technique, aside from the obvious heroes, Van Halen, Dimebag Darrell, Steve Vai, many others of course who could shake sticks at and say that's them. Mattias Eklund is incredible, and he will do a thing where he does a sort of hammer on from nowhere tapped harmonic with the left hand, and be able to play entire melodies using all of the natural harmonics on the strings and using the whammy bar to get the sustain and the musicality from those notes. Now that's something I can't do, but I recommend checking out Mattias Eklund, incredible guitar player, and he does some really cool stuff with 8 strings as well. But the basics of this technique is that you grab a harmonic and then you dive the bar. Now one of the classics is actually where you slack the string. And when it's slack, you slack it by diving the bar. You press it down so the strings go slack. Okay, but before you play a note, you use the left hand index finger to kind of flick the string, and then you move along the string and find a natural harmonic to grab on the way up on the bar. So this technique works quite nicely with a lot of gain. However, I'm using a very low gain tone now, and it can be a nice little kind of Jeff Becky kind of ornamenty kind of thing that sounds a bit quirky if you can get it in a few places. Of course, it takes a lot of accuracy, and because of the low volume of low output gain, it's difficult to get the harmonic to kind of compress like a high gain tone would. Now finally, I just want to look at some silly techniques we can do. One of the classic ones is the lizard down the throat technique, which is what Joe Satriani called it. It sounds really dodgy, but it goes like this. And that's where you dive the bar and then you slide up on the string. So I could just dive, pluck the note and slide up, whilst gently bringing the bar up. Not necessarily something I actually find myself using all that often, but it's something that maybe you could take and make into a really cool thing. So there we have it. I really hope you've enjoyed this free guitar lesson on whammy bar techniques. Let us know in the comments if you think I've missed any particular techniques. Do you use a whammy bar? Do you not use a whammy bar? Let us know what you think, and we'll have a discussion in the comments below. Check out some of the other lessons we have here at licklibrary.com, on our YouTube channel and on our website. If you want to be notified when we've got more free guitar lessons, hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when we upload more free guitar lessons to take your playing to the next level. If you're serious about taking your guitar playing to the next level, then please check out licklibrary.com. We've got tons and tons of courses on the website as part of the monthly membership. We're constantly updating it every month with new courses, songs, theory, technique, backing tracks and much more constantly going on there. You can also get one-to-one coaching on your playing to give you a practice and learning path. We hope to see you there. If you want to find out more, check the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.